Hello, Otafest family, and welcome back to the Otafest podcast. I'm Jay. I've got Angelo and Nancy with me today.
Hello.
Hello.
Wow, that was synced. uh, yeah, we're glad to keep on continuing on the podcast here. Podcasts are being recorded from home, and Otafest is still planning community content even if we can't be together physically. We hope you're staying indoors where it's safe, and hopefully you're working on your creative projects in the meantime. Keep your eyes and ears peeled via our social media where you can expect to hear about our upcoming events. We haven't put everything into motion yet, but we will be, and just keep your, you have nothing else to do, I'm sure. You should be staying at home, so, put a little bit of your attention towards social media, our social media, and we'll have some announcements coming up. Um, Angelo and Nancy, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good, all things
Which up to?
considered. I've got a lot of work to do because I think I said this last time, but I'm an essential employee, essential industry.
You're essential in a way that a lot of people don't necessarily think of, but more or less you help keep other businesses running through the work that you
Yes.
do.
Because I work at a data center, I'm basically the first line of support if they have any physical hardware problems or
Technical issues, right?
connectivity problems.
Right.
And I can't say who our customers are for obvious reasons, or reasons that should be obvious. But with
Privacy.
some of our customers, like they are extremely essential businesses. Like
Right.
if nothing else, they have to stay online.
I was saying, honestly, like with everything that's going on, we are one prolonged internet outage away from an actual apocalypse,
Oh no. Now that you've said that, I'm
Pretty
running through all
close
these
to it,
really
honestly.
terrible possibilities in my head.
right?
At
Because
the
like,
same time, you can
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, it's just that going into sort of how we had let's say pandemics or major depressions or other issues of the past, such as, the Great Depression or World War I, and like crazy things, right? And that would stop things sort of, but people knew how to continue on, and literal infrastructure was not reliant on computer to computer connectivity and the internet. So therefore, um, but now, like they didn't have as much issue, I feel like. But nowadays, they will have that problem just because, we all rely on the internet. We're talking payment systems rely on the internet, inventories, all sorts of electronical communication. Like I'm sure that governments might have something that can turn on to an analog system,
I can
but then
kind of
everyone
ease
has
your
to do
fears.
things, right? Oh, really?
Like as far as it goes, because that's part of the of what I work with. Uh, the reality is, internet is very, very robust. It is versatile.
Hmm.
All things considered, like one link, one connection, that's fragile as hell.
Hmm.
But for all the important systems, you've got backups. Like here where I work, we've got so many different layers of redundancy. We've got 3 different power feeds. Each of those power feeds is backed up by UPS batteries. Each of those batteries is backed up by 3 different generators. The generators are 3 different manufacturers, so that if there's a known issue with one manufacturer, the other two are different manufacturers that won't have that
I mean, that's
problem.
good to know that there's redundancies. I mean,
And
I
then
expect that there should be, but
on top of that, let's say your fiber runs out. Well, then you start using copper. Let's
right.
say your copper runs out. Then you start using dial up. Let's say your dial up
Oof.
runs out. You start using the wireless cellular. Like there's so many different kinds of technologies that you can use that keep you up and running. And
Yeah,
I've
for a very
barely.
practical reason,
yeah.
very practical example, this was back when I was working at the source. We used DSL for everything,
Hmm.
and then suddenly our DSL router or modem broke in the middle of the day. We couldn't do anything. We call up our tech guy, and within 5 minutes, we're doing credit card transactions over dial up because that's
Sure.
all we could do. And then for anything that required the internet, we took one of the display cell phones that we had and one of the display laptops, and we were tethering the Wi-Fi from the laptop to the phone
Right.
for anything else.
I feel like I accept that there's good redundancy backups in case, but I think my concern would be on a major scale if something were to happen, like more than, for example, a storefront, or like we're talking an entire municipality or an entire provincial municipality or so on and so forth. Like at a very large scale, if that were to happen in these times, things would go bad because people would try to take advantage, and then the other people being taken advantage of wouldn't want to be taken advantage of, and then they start, like, it's a cascading sort of reaction. You know what I mean? That's my concern. But
The
That's kind of
reality
what
is that
happened with toilet paper, isn't it?
for it to get
a
that
little bit,
bad,
for sure.
you'd basically need a full power outage.
Oh, I think so too.
Is
Like
basically what I'm saying.
but I think that
And at that point, you've
some
got
people would
larger
panic.
things to worry about.
Sure. Nancy, what have you been up to?
I talked about my horrible temptation for online shopping last week, so I won't go into that.
Did you
But
get anything new in last
nope,
week?
nope, I have not pulled the plug on anything. I also haven't committed to hitting the buy button on anything.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
no,
of
I've
online
actually been
shopping,
saving
I
a
might
lot
need
of
new
money.
headphones.
Ooh, headphones. Nope, nope, nope. Not gonna look at that. No,
I
stop
have-
I'm
it.
just saying
Stop
that
it,
because
Angelo.
my headphones were just having massive issues right now.
I'm already somebody who doesn't like try to buy a whole lot of stuff, generally speaking, but there's nothing I've been like I've been actively not buying anything because the most I want is a phone, and I wanted a phone a while ago, but I feel like I missed the train a little bit right now, and I feel like I'm just gonna wait for the new generation, and I don't need to worry, like, because the battery's the thing that's dying on my phone. I don't need to
Okay.
worry about that because I'm either at home or at work, and at work I don't use my phone that much. We just,
Mm.
we have other communication means. So I don't really know. Like I feel like I'm just sitting here. But on the other hand, I'm saving money, so that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I'm actually saving a lot of money just staying home because I'm
I'm
not charging
ordering
up my
out.
car.
That's my
Oh.
problem right now. I order out for food like maybe 3 times a week, maybe, and that's not great.
between me and Dio, we aren't ordering out more than we normally would. And while I'm buying more groceries just because I want to be more prepared in case something weird happens, overall, we're not going out for dates or anything. We're not going to see
Right,
movies. We're not going to
right.
see friends. We're not
The
getting fancy stuff.
Are you
So
buying?
it's like,
Are you gonna hoard gasoline? Are you gonna get some jerry cans of gas? Because it's like at
fuck
what, like
no.
60 cents right now.
By the
I think
time
Yeesh.
I would use it, it would be dead. It would be shitty gas.
I
Yeah.
think it's gonna hit 40 at some point. I think
I
it's
mean,
gonna
it
I
go.
would be
could.
very surprised if it. I don't think it actually could. I'm fairly certain the taxes that we have on it are more than 40 cents worth of taxes.
Yeah, the powers
That's a
that
good
be.
point.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So I've been saving a lot of money because I'm not fueling up to, drive to work and driving out to go hang out with you guys or driving out to go on fancy dates
Right.
or anything like that.
Yeah, like food dates or
Um,
anything, right?
yeah, and we're not really ordering in that much. Like we were
Uh,
always fairly good about cooking at home, and
I
we would
just
have like
ordered
our
it.
one odd day out every week, but now that's not happening.
Literally, I am waiting for a food delivery order that will probably be available for pickup right after the recording. is done.
Nice.
So, but
Huh.
the
What did you
order.
order?
Oh, I just ordered some like Chinese food because I wanted some like salt and pepper chicken and some other stuff.
Oh,
But the thing is, I'm trying to make my food purchases, or most of my purchases in general, I'm trying to push towards more local businesses, especially now.
yeah.
I tried to do that before, and be more aware of that before, but now I'm trying to do that even more so. I'm at a point where like, I'm not saying like I'm super friggin' rich or anything like that. Local doesn't cost that much more, but in these times where I know that there's like government supplements and what do you call it, like subsidiaries.
Subsidies.
Yeah, 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 not subsidiaries, subsidies, things like that. I know that they're getting some support as well, but I'd like them to know that, you know, there are customers that are going to buy from them. I don't need to friggin' buy everything from Amazon all the time. I don't need to buy everything from a large chain all the time, you know?
Oh
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And actually, there's two different businesses that, off the top of my head, there's Old Beautiful Brewery who recently did online orders. And
yes,
so if you order it on their website before 2 p.m., you can get same day delivery,
is that
which
one of
is,
the breweries that also is doing alcohol, like a sanitizer?
I don't know if they are. I would not, I think they're not because they're
Okay.
still making beer.
Oh, fair enough. Maybe I was like wondering if they might have switched half or something like that because like
But
I can't imagine that they're producing in the same quantities, you know what I mean? Even with the same amount of equipment.
at the very least, they're not selling as much.
Okay.
So who else is enabling
So that
deliveries
was really
now?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also one of our friends who runs a candy store. I think it's called Gummy Boutique, but I'm not actually sure.
Oh, that's
They
the
Oh,
one
I
started
know
in
where they
doing,
That's in
are.
Kensington, yeah.
yes, that's in Kensington.
Kimmyton.
And
Kimmyton.
so Dio, the other day she bought a bunch of candy, some of it that I haven't had in literally decades.
Yeah.
Like
There's
what?
like
Like
those
what?
blue raspberry live wire candies where it's like
Ooh.
the
Is that like
stretchy.
licorice?
It's kind of like licorice, but it's like blue raspberry, and then it's got like some white stuff in the middle, and it's nice, a little bit tart, and I love it. It's the
I
only
love
good blue
those.
raspberry thing ever.
Mm.
She got the marshmallow bananas. She got
Oh, I
like, and then
remember
she got
those.
a lot of like the regular stuff. She got like some high chews, which are always good. She got some green tea Kit Kats and
Very nice. Very
like
nice.
watermelon jujubes and oh oh
So ordering in diabetes.
Yeah.
yes.
Nice.
What's your favorite? What are your guys' favorite? Remember like 5-cent candies when those existed in like gas stations and
Oh,
stuff, or
dude, I
convenience
remember when they
stores?
were penny candies.
Yeah.
Fucking
What's
five
your
cent
favorite type
plebs.
of that candy? Because like there's classics like remember Coke gummies?
The Coke
There's
bottles are really
Coke
good.
bottles.
I
yeah.
also liked like those blue shark and dolphin ones.
Oh, I was not a fan
Oh
of those.
yeah.
I really liked
Uh,
they're not
sour
Swedish
cherries
berries.
were good.
They're the
Yeah.
gummy berries. You know which ones I'm talking about? They're like the size of a quarter
Yep.
and they're a lot softer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know those.
Yeah. Nancy, what do you got?
Um, my favorite 5-cent candy. Pretty much anything that was sour, like the sour cherry blasters, the
Um,
sour Coke bottles, anything that had like that sour coat. Oh, sour
keys?
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Keys.
Cabbage
That's what they
kids.
were.
Oh, and the sour
I loved
keys,
keys.
sour
Okay.
gummy worms.
I don't hate sour, but I prefer like your general sweet ones instead of sour. Or if they were like you know how you can have like sour watermelon slice gummies? I like that
Yeah.
more than I
Sour
like sour
peaches.
sour. Sour peach is not bad, but only when they're actually soft. I don't like the if they're a little bit dried out and stuff.
I mean, I don't think anyone likes it when gummies are dried out ever.
I'm sure some people do, but
If
Really?
they're the sour keys, I like those when you have to like really tear into them.
hmm
Oh, like the really
Yeah.
big keys, like the ones
Right.
that you feel like
Yeah,
you're
like those
chewing
aren't
on
the penny
tacky.
ones, but yeah, I
Right.
love those. Oh, they're just so satisfying. To, like just
Oh boy.
Do you remember
What
bubble
memories.
tape?
bubble tape. Hell
Yeah,
yeah!
I
Yeah.
remember those.
I think I had one of those like
Oh my God, Ilya,
maybe
don't
like
eat
3 or 4 years ago was the last time that
headphone
I remember.
cable.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Bubblicious?
Are you fighting Ilya?
She's
Oh,
trying to eat
no.
my headphone cable.
Okay.
Please
On
no.
the topic of Bubblicious, real quick, and
Yes.
also I think Hubba Bubba was also like another name for
Another
them,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Or either that or
I
they're
think
very
they were-
similar.
I think
but-
they were two separate brands or
Okay.
something.
I remember when I was a kid and my parents would go grocery shopping and they would always have that kind of stuff in the checkout aisle, right? To like
Always,
get you like
always.
the what do you call it? The
Checkout aisle.
yeah, no,
Like
no, no,
that
but
little
like
aisle
the
with
Impulse
stuff.
buys.
what's the sorry? What's the
Impulse buys.
Impulse buy, yeah, for sure. That's it. And I remember, okay, the flavor wasn't exactly amazing, but I could literally smell the watermelon flavored ones every
I
time
was
I
just
passed the
thinking that
aisle.
one. The
That one
watermelon
was
one
like-
was always.
Yeah,
It was extra fragrant. There was something about it that,
Yeah,
like the
it could really
the
get you.
wrappers that it came in literally could not contain
Yeah.
that smell.
And back in the day, it was maybe like $1, maybe $1.50. So my parents would be like, "Ah, sure." Like maybe once every couple of months or something, I'd probably get it.
You know, the thing I remember most about those is just how much bigger they were than like a regular piece of gum.
right? And also Tic Tacs. You remember Tic
Oh,
Tacs?
Yeah, I
Especially
still
before.
love orange Tic Tacs.
Yes, but when they colored in the individual pill as opposed to the box. Now they're just make them in white, and the box
Yeah.
is what's colored mostly.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when like they were clear boxes and like the Tic Tacs
Yeah.
were actually colored inside.
This
Yeah.
is this is turning into a nostalgia podcast,
you know
but
when you
it's
used to go to
hold
like
on.
Canadian Tire with your
Yeah.
dad, and they would always have those like stacks of giant suckers, like the big round
Oh
lollipops,
yeah, sort of like
and
the
they were
Chupa
all the
Chups, but they were
different
Oh.
big.
interesting, all
Yeah.
the different interesting flavors.
hmm This is
Oh,
turning
those were
into a
the best.
nostalgia podcast, but
Candy
uh,
nostalgia.
here's the thing. It seems like so long ago. You know what also seems so long ago? 2 months ago. Last month was the longest year I've ever lived.
Shh, shh, shh,
That's
shh,
what it
no.
feels like, right?
Oh man.
So like, but like all the worst part is like nothing. This sounds weird, but nothing extraordinary happened in a way. Like we all got went to work. We mostly all, did the same things that we would normally do, like grocery shop and maybe drive around a little bit and things like that. It's just like, but it just felt so long because there's no more separation
I don't know.
between like
I feel
segregation
like
of how your
November
time
was the
works.
last normal month.
You think so? What was
Well,
so
like
bad about
December
December?
is
It's like
December.
holidays?
Nothing bad. It's just holidays. So
Fair
it's not a
enough.
normal month. It's a normal December, but it's not a normal month.
Yeah.
January, 3 years into the new year, World War III was beginning.
hmm
Uh,
Brewing.
and so
And
January
Australia was
was high
burning.
tension.
Australia was burning.
Australia was
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah.
In February, things about COVID-19 started appearing in the news. It's like
Yeah, a little bit for sure.
February was those news clips in a zombie apocalypse movie
Yeah,
where
it's
things
true.
start going wrong.
It's true.
That was February.
Oh, speaking of
And
zombie,
then March was just March.
speaking of like zombie slash like infection stuff, not actually about COVID, but I'm part of like a couple of online communities, and one of them there's like a few nice folks that sort of gather unused game codes for trade, and I had one for sort of a strategy game that I knew I wasn't gonna play, so I gave that one away, and I got back in return like a sort of good game that I never played before, but kind of want to play, Dead Island.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I haven't played it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, like I just got a free game
How is
code
it?
for that. I haven't started yet because I've been friggin' stuck on Stardew Valley because okay,
Ooh.
first of all, before Stardew Valley, real quick here. Dead Island looks really fun. I hear there's a couple of bugs, so it's not exactly like game of the year game, but and obviously it's a little bit older now, but I got the remastered version from this
Hmm.
game code, so I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to it. People are saying it looks nice and it plays pretty fun. So it'll be some like I remember the trailer. The trailer back in like, I don't know, 2008 or something like that looked really
Oh my
good.
god.
It's an old
2008 was over 10 years ago. What the
I'm
heck?
pretty sure it's that old, Dead Island
Dead
trailer.
Island? Yeah, it's about that old.
Yeah,
It
like
came
Huh.
out not very long after Left 4 Dead.
So
no,
I've been
sorry,
playing
that's a
stuff
lie.
that's
It's
like a
it was like
handful.
2010. It was like 2010,
Oh,
2011.
okay.
But still, that's
Okay.
still, you know. But okay, Nancy, go ahead. But after that, I'm gonna get into Stardew Valley.
I've been playing through my backlog while we've been at home,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of one of those things that I always said I would play through given the time, and so we're finally doing it. We're playing through the Final Fantasy 13 series, so we finished the first
hmm
game.
I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
I know. So revelations about the first game. I've played it before, playing it through with Sean,
hmm
and playing through it together, we decided to play it in Japanese, and I hated every character significantly less in Japanese. I don't know
Oh,
why.
wow.
We
Weird.
have many theories as to why, but I think it's because of the scripting and the voice acting. So that's those are my condensed thoughts about the first game. The second game was aside from the beef I have with how they designed Sarah, the gameplay was actually pretty fun because they got rid of all the jank that was in the first game when it came to the actual battles and stuff. Plus, there's a little bit of like a Pokemon-ish esque component to it because you run around collecting monsters to add to your party as like party members. and then you design your battle tactics around what they do. And now we're on the last game, so we're on Lightning Returns. I am extremely underwhelmed by the new music, which actually isn't that much because, for the most part, all of the songs I keep hearing are rehashes of songs from the previous two games, or they're rehashes of songs from other Final Fantasies. Case in point, we're running around playing as Yuna right now because, of course, surprise, surprise, you can dress up as Yuna in both her 10 and 10-2 outfits. And depending on which one you defeat your monster in when you happen to win, it plays the battle theme from the respective game that you're dressed from.
Hmm.
So for the most part, like 80% of the music that I've enjoyed out of this game was all from previous games
Hmm.
instead of any new music that they've introduced in this one. And it's kind of weird too because they've got this very religious undertone, and I don't know how I feel about that. Like, the gameplay is pretty fun, but you're literally wandering around a world that's about to essentially hit ascension
Hmm.
or rapture or whatever, and you're running around saving souls. And I'm just like, this is very. I really hope the storytelling takes it in a way that I don't think it's going. So I don't know.
This, so what you've said right now, like all about Final Fantasy 13, is literally the most I know about the game because
Because.
up until this podcast, up until your your experience here, the only thing I knew about it that I had heard from like reviews and things like that, because the reviews don't always talk about story, right? Is that
Yeah.
it's sort of a very like railroady game. It's
Yep.
sort of
Okay.
like walking through a hallway. It's like very linear. Is that right?
The first game was very, very linear.
Right?
I think the first like 50 hours of the first game was extremely linear. It was like a 40-hour long tutorial almost, because at some point they let you off the rails and all of a sudden you have this huge open world concept, and all of a sudden you're actually allowed to break loose from all of the artificial restrictions they've put on your gameplay up to that point. So it because they did it that way, it up until you get to that open world point, it does feel like you're very like stuck in a rail car and you're following the rails as you go.
Hmm.
That was very true for the first game. The second game was very nonlinear because it was essentially built around the whole concept of time travel and visiting alternate timelines that you ultimately end up creating yourself.
I
And
started
uh
playing the
huh.
second game because I started playing Final Fantasy 13 2 when I got a PS3
Did you play the
because
first game
it was
first?
hell no. I
Okay.
went in blind, and Dio
Okay.
just told me it was an awful game, and I was like, it can't be that bad. And I
Uh huh.
got it because it was super cheap, because I was
Okay.
just buying clearance stuff from the store. So I played for about 3 hours, and 2.5 hours of that was cutscenes.
Yep.
And the 30 minutes where I was actually playing was a handholdy tutorial, and it explained things so badly that I just never touched the game again.
So I will say that playing the first game gives you better context on how the mechanics work in the second game, because they basically took the first game, fixed up a bunch of the weird jank. Like in the first game and the second game, you don't really control where your characters move around on the battlefield. The AI just kind of,
Yeah.
tells your characters to strafe a little bit this way or that way, or back up or walk closer or something. But you don't really control their movement on screen. And in the first game, if your party leader was the one that KO'd, it was game over like right away. But at least in the second game, if party leader KOs, it switches you over to one like any other person in your party. And like
Okay.
understandably that was like one of the things that was really RNG death
Hmm.
about the first game, because like you'd be doing perfectly fine and then all of a sudden party leader gets one shotted, and then despite the fact that the rest of your party is fine, it's game over and then you got to do it all over again. And that happened more than once, like more than a handful of times, and it was really frustrating. But
Yeah,
considering that
it
this
was
was
not a good experience going into it, so I was just like, I don't want to play this game.
oh, that's totally fair. I
I'm
can
done.
totally understand that.
I have like
But I
no investment in this, so great. Dio was proven right.
So interestingly enough, I think playing the entire trilogy in very quick succession actually gave me more ability to enjoy the games because you weren't separated by years and years between each game.
That's fair.
But like I still am not super blown away by this. Like I'm not going to make outlandish claims about how much I love these games. They were fun,
Hmm.
and I'm glad I played them. But I don't know if they have a whole lot of replayability.
Hmm.
Cuz like we're talking about, so the first game I had already played all the way through once, and then we did it together in Japanese, and then the second game I played partway through and I never finished it. So playing that in Japanese was interesting.
Right.
Playing the third game, this is the first time either of us has played the third game, and it's been interesting, but again, the storyline has some really weird like undertones to it, and I don't know how I feel about it.
What is Angelo doing? He's leaving. He has left. Wow.
Are you serious, man?
Yeah,
I
this
just bored Angelo
usually.
out of the room.
Yeah, I could see that. Um,
Crap.
Ilya was begging to go outside.
I see.
Sorry.
Oh, can I
Other
get?
things I need to replay: Witcher 3, because I screwed it up
Oh,
the first time and I missed an entire like
you didn't
important
screw
side
it up.
quest.
You just played it in a different way.
I did not play it the right way.
Can I
Anyway.
tell? Can I tell you why I've been playing so much Stardew? I have.
Oh, yes. Please
Hold on.
tell me why you're obsessed with Stardew Valley.
So I sold my Switch. I sold my
Yes.
Switch
Okay.
to a fellow Otafest member because I wasn't playing anything. I said this on last podcast. It was just it's gathering. It was gathering dust,
I can
and
appreciate that.
yeah, I'm not that kind of person. I have never played a game of Animal Crossing. Like not because I think I would hate it. It's just it never came up, and I would be playing like Harvest Moon, like because I also really like Harvest Moon, and Stardew is obviously like Harvest Moon.
Yep.
I sold it to my friend. My friend is playing Animal Crossing. I'm watching. I have streams on Twitch going on because of the stay-at-home stuff, and I'm staying at home more often than ever, so I need more content to watch. I'm watching a lot of Twitch streams. A lot of Twitch streams are playing Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing looks super fun. I feel like I'd get bored after maybe about a month of playing it, but it does look really fun. So what am I going to do? I don't have a Switch. I can't get Animal Crossing. I have Stardew Valley. That's why I've been playing a shitload of Stardew Valley. In the last week, I have played 94 hours of Stardew Valley. Prior to
How many
that,
waking hours have you had this week?
I don't know, a lot. Uh, prior to, well, I say this last week. In the last 2 weeks, I've played 94 hours. The total amount that I've played Stardew Valley before that was 139 hours. I've tripled my
Holy,
Dear
playtime.
God.
I've tripled my
holy
playtime.
belabels.
But I will say, if anything else, like I'm not upset that I don't have Animal Crossing. That's not really what I'm getting at. I will say that it's a really good background noise for when I don't have anything else to watch. There's like just some cute stuff where I'm watching them fish or catch a bug or make clothing or whatever it is. It's pretty good, I have to say. Uh, the reason why I'm playing Stardew, other than like just the Animal Crossing sort of like fueling
Aspects.
my need, is
Mm-hmm.
I have a perfectionist sort of streak, and the issue
But
is
not
that
completionist.
yes and no. So the problem is that of the
Huh.
94 hours that I've played, I haven't gotten past the first month yet. Because I keep on
How
Wow.
does time pass in Stardew Valley?
oh, like the game only saves when when it basically when you sleep. So
Yeah,
it's
at the
really
end of the
easy.
day.
Hold on 1 second.
No.
I think his
Ugh.
food's here.
Boo. I told him his food would arrive literally in the middle of a podcast.
I know. How rude.
We
It's
told
like-
him so.
Derek, say hi to the Otafest podcast. Can you
Hi,
hear him?
Derek.
That's Angelo and Nancy you're talking to, and now you're going to be on the internet. Do you want to say anything to the internet, like shill your restaurant or anything? Yeah, buy local, people. Buy
Hell
local
yeah.
food. I'm gonna go quickly downstairs so Angelo and Nancy talk, and I will be
Alright.
right downstairs, Derek. I'll see ya.
Be be that way. Wow.
I think the longest I ever played Stardew Valley for was when the multiplayer update came around. Me and a couple friends started playing, and so we got through, I think, 1 year, maybe 1 year in a season. But after that, we just couldn't arrange time to play together, and since everything was on my PC, they couldn't play without me.
Ha, that's hilarious.
Oh, so it went pretty bad.
Huh. I don't know. I haven't. So actually, I don't even think I own Stardew Valley. I think that's been on my list of things to buy for a long time, but I've been trying to save money anyway. So I just haven't been looking at Steam sale emails in the last, year.
You can usually find it on Steam sales for stupendously cheap. Like the value per dollar that you get out of it is pretty good. But at the same time, it's like if you've got other things to play, uh,
So I do need to actually go back and play Witcher 3 again because I did screw up like monumentally and I completely missed a very important story side quest thing just because Yennefer pissed me off and I just decided not to go see her when she was like, "Oh, and I need to talk to you about something important and I need you to come see me. It's important." And then I just didn't.
you're like, you know
And now
what?
I regret it because
No.
now I'm missing that whole chunk of story and now I have to play the game all the way up till then to get it and
That reminds me of in Skyrim. I was in the middle of a side quest, and some thief just came up and killed the guy that I was talking to, so I
what?
couldn't finish the side quest.
What?
Ah,
That can happen?
it's a really buggy system. Like
Well, I
you
mean
can
it's
cause
Skyrim, but
things to
like
happen
okay.
that just don't make sense and break the game.
I
Uh,
mean,
it's
yeah.
entirely possible to soft lock yourself out of the main quest by doing bullshit like this.
That's hilarious, but also this is the stuff that Skyrim is most infamed for.
Yeah, like
uh
Bethesda made the game, but all the community mods are what make the game good.
yeah, I can agree with
So it's
that.
it's just a matter of
Did I ever tell you the story of why I rage quit Skyrim the first time I played it?
you didn't. What happened?
I was still getting used to the janky controls. Janky
Yeah.
controls? What's that? It's Skyrim. And I accidentally picked up something that I intended to just read, like it was a book. All I wanted to do was read what was in it. I didn't want to keep it. But I ended up picking it up, and after you pick shit up, you can't put it back anymore. So I was like, oh, well, whatever. I guess I'll just, scrap this, move on. Moving along, few hours later, I am leaving town and I get ambushed by a bunch of hitmen who have been sent after me. And at this point, I am not strong enough to take on four other guys. I
Oh
have
no.
I have fire magic equipped to one hand and that's about it. So I strafe backwards for about 15 minutes until I finally eventually kill all of them. Huh, and then I find out afterwards, when a squad of hitmen come after you, there's always a letter in one of their pockets, and then you figure out who sent them, and it was a dog. I accidentally stole a book from a dog that I didn't even want.
Oh my god, that's so stupid.
It was
Hello.
a dog in a shack whose book I accidentally picked up and couldn't put back, and then he sent me a hit squad and I was just so done. Like that
Uh,
was 15 extremely stressful minutes and actually it took longer than 15 because they killed me the first few times I tried to leave town. And you know how the auto saving works. You try to leave town and there are no save points before that.
Yep.
I realize
I
I
So
had a
missed a
similar
good chunk of
situation in
conversation.
Skyrim.
Out of context, what Nancy said makes no sense. However, don't explain it to me. I'm gonna have to edit this podcast anyways. I'm sure I'll catch up.
we weren't going to
Don't worry
catch you
about it.
up anyway, Jay. This is
I didn't
all
think
your
so.
own doing.
Of course it
My
is.
similar
Literally.
situation was there's the giant camp right outside of Whiterun. And
Yeah.
Ah,
so one of my first challenges to myself was I wanted to kill one of these giants and get whatever loot they
you
had.
fool.
And so I shot a giant, just one giant, made sure only one of them chased me, and I started running away. But my build was like heavy armor,
So you
so
didn't have a
your
lot of
stamina
stamina?
just
Yeah.
and so to combat this, all I had were like alto wines or whatever, where they give you stamina, but they make you drunk and blur the screen.
Yeah.
And so I very soon find out, oh shit, I can't do enough damage to this giant. What do I do?
Mhm.
And so I start running towards Whiterun, and I'm like, surely, if this giant is fucking around in like the fields or whatever, the guards are gonna come and they're gonna help me kill him.
Yes, surely. Assuming the AIs were programmed
And
properly.
no, they do not.
They
I
don't
literally
care.
went. I pulled the giant right up to the gates of Whiterun, where there were two guards, and they were just like, no lollygagging. And I was just like, and I just running around, uh, jumping on things and climbing around, not trying to get killed by this giant, using every single arrow I have to pop him. Eventually, it turns out I can't win. I fucked up. I get killed by this giant, and I just load, and I'm like, okay,
My
don't fuck with giants.
if we're talking like Skyrim, I don't think I've talked about Skyrim before really. I only have one really fun story, and it has to do with the fact that when you play on PC, you can activate like the console menu, and you can cheat is basically what I'm trying to say. But I wasn't cheating in the way that was necessarily like I want to be a god. I was cheating because I wanted to make like really customized characters that were like based off of like that's an anime character, for example.
Ah,
So I had this one character based off of Bartholomew Kuma, which is a character. He's like sort of a anti-hero antagonist-ish character in One Piece. And
okay.
basically his whole motif is that he's based off of like a bear, therefore the name Kuma. And he has like this
Mm.
power where like um his power is called like the pushing power, sort of like a sumo kind of like strike, like like that palm first strike kind of thing, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that he can do is that it's a very powerful thing, but like if he pushes you, even like when he touches you, you'll be launched. Like it's not necessarily that it just does so much damage, it just launches you like straight across the screen.
Dear God.
So what I did was there's like a bear what do you call it? Styled or like visual style set of armor that has little like there's even a little armor headpiece that has little bear ears and a little snout on top. It's really cute.
I like it.
But you can get these
I don't know that
gloves.
armor set, but I like it.
Yeah, you can get these gloves that go with it, and these gloves you can imbue them with like higher melee damage just from your fists as opposed to using like a melee weapon and that kind of thing. So, just um hitting and punching does more damage, which is pretty cool. But I
Mhm.
also enchanted like a Fusro Da sort of enchantment. So
Nice.
when I would hit somebody, they would launch off into
I
the
love it.
distance, and it was super
Oh
fun.
my God.
But the
That would be fun.
but the weird best part about it, completely unintended, was the fact that I didn't know this, but like in Skyrim, when you kill somebody, sometimes you get a kill shot screen. Like if you shoot an arrow, you might see them like slow-mo
Yeah.
arrow enters their
Yeah, like
head
the
or
slow
whatever.
mo kill shot.
Right. There are like hands-only melee finishing scenes. Like
Oh.
Oh.
kill screens. So if you will do, lethal damage using just your hands in different scenarios. So if you were attacking someone head on, like not stealth, there's one where like you literally just like you bash their head in like with your fists. It's like scary. Another
Nice.
really
Except,
yeah, but my favorite one is when in stealth you can go in and then you will literally pick up a dude and suplex them to their death, snapping their neck in the process.
whoa.
And I was
Well,
just
now I
like
want to do this.
that was like literally my favorite thing about that build. It was like that surprise element. I was just like, sweet, I'm gonna go push things like my anime character. No,
Oh my
no.
god.
I suplexed a dude and I was like, I can never go back. I must suplex all
You are
enemies.
the luchador.
Yeah. It was the my favorite. I have no idea how we got to Skyrim, but that was my contribution.
We were really just sharing, weird
Game
stories
stories.
about playing games.
Right.
Sweet.
But Angelo, are you watching anything in your backlog?
Not really. I'm not attacking the backlog at all. Uh,
Really?
no. I don't know. I have no desire to just sit down for 8 hours and watch anything right now.
I feel that. But can I say something about a show that's just coming out right now?
Sure.
Digimon Adventure is back with a
I
high
saw that.
budget,
What?
and it looks
Yeah, it
amazing.
stars Tai and Agumon.
Yes, it looks really good. And I would recommend, if you are an old school Digimon fan or just have no idea what Digimon really was, but you want something fun to watch, it's great quality. They've upped all the animation quality. It's not just like a remaster, it's a remake. Like they have
Hmm.
new scenes and
Is it a
everything like
remake?
that.
I thought it was all new.
It's all new,
I,
but I
I, I
think
thought it
there's
was a
like,
new
but there's
story.
obviously like a very strong baseline to the original series. Does that make
Okay.
Mhm.
sense? So like you have new animations, but I feel like the storyline's gonna follow somewhat of what the old one was. I'm not 100% sure on that detail, to be honest, but it does look
To be
amazing.
honest, I forget most of the detail of the original storyline
That's
I
anyway.
do
that's
too.
fine. That's just more excuse to watch something fun and sort of lighthearted.
Oh,
All I remember
time
is that
time to
Yeah,
they
blitz it
started
with
doing
y'all.
things,
yeah.
and then War Greymon happened, and then
Hell yeah.
somehow Angemon was there, and then Devimon was there, and there was some
See,
guy with
you're
a
getting
hat,
it. You're getting it.
and then it turned out that
Some
other
guy with a
Digimon turned
hat.
into eggs, and then somehow other Digi dudes merged with their Digimons, and
Yeah. You
I
can
don't remember
you can
anything.
love Pokemon for like the games and like the sort of general fun vibe it has, but you have to love Digimon for the story. This Digimon story was so much better and the character development is so much better that it's an actual series. It's not just a Pokemon spin-off. It's not a Pokemon spin-off actually. Digimon came first. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Didn't
like
know that.
Characters
it's really fun.
develop, whereas Ash Ketchum is still a 10-year-old kid.
I think he might be 11 now, but I'm not sure.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
I
One
know.
whole year of
Yeah,
mental
in
aging.
like 20 years
25
of
years.
existence. Yeah, I know.
So, speaking of things that were fun to watch, I recently finished Adventure Time for the first time. I have watched
I
the
haven't
first
finished it
six or
yet, so
seven
don't.
seasons.
Yeah,
I think I've
don't
only
get too
watched
far.
like 4 episodes or
Don't get
four
too
Okay.
far. But like I
seasons of
like.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I will
So,
watch it though. I will.
okay. I mean, I would watch the last like seasons with you again cuz I've only seen the last few seasons once, whereas the ones that came before, I've seen those probably 3 times now.
Hmm.
So this most recent spree was me trying to introduce it to Sean, and there are definitely a lot of episodes that are like, man, they were on a lot of something.
Hmm.
Like some of the weirder filler episodes were kind of, but like the thing I noticed most was that towards the end they started doing more multi-episode arcs, like longer arcs, ones that actually have like a
Right.
significant
Yeah.
amount of plot
Yeah.
instead of, because I noticed towards the beginning of the show that they hint at stuff and it
Yeah.
seems really inconsequential and they just sort of keep hinting
Right.
at things.
It's very, but at the beginning, I remember it's very much problem of the day. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yep,
there's a
very much.
small
Yeah.
thing, but like I remember leaving off around sort of when Jake meets his father, sort of thing.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
And that starts really tipping off into some like that's not story. It doesn't start. I mean, like the whole overarching storyline really starts off way with like Marceline and Ice King and stuff like that.
Yeah, that one really gets me.
Yeah, it should. It should get anyone who's a fan of Adventure Time. If you can't get into that, then I don't know why you're watching. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got a very post-apocalyptic sort of storyline that I'm not
Yeah, except you
100%
don't
sure of.
realize it.
Yes,
Well, you don't
which is sort of
realize it
very
at the very
relevant
beginning.
right
Adventure
now.
Time is post-apocalypse in the same way that Kimono Friends is post-apocalypse.
Yes.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that show in a little while.
Wait, Nancy's actually seen Kimono Friends?
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
Okay. But yes, they're
And
post-apocalypse in the same way.
Yeah. I want we're wrapping up pretty quickly here on this episode, I believe. But before we get to the end here, there's one thing I want to say about sort of this whole situation, which is sort of I want to talk about the end of our current predicament, our global pandemic fears and things like that. This is not any sort of advice. This is not any sort of this is just an opinion. My opinion is that even though the world is looking pretty weird right now, and I'm sure some people are having a harder time with it than others, I honestly think we're going to come out of it better than we were going in.
I think so too.
There are a lot of things that I know a lot of people are bummed out about, whether it's employment or your personal life, or maybe like, the wellness of your friends and family members, because maybe you have to be away from them and it's difficult. But the things that I think that are going to be much better in the after Corona sort of landscape, we're going to be better at sanitization, which is just a good baseline. We're going to be celebrating together sort of our ability to be social people. Even this has nothing to do with being like a extrovert or introvert or anything like that, but I'm sure that you want to see your friends. You want just to be able to go out and do something that you normally would be able to do before all of this happened, such as just go out to the pub or go see a movie or whatever it might have been.
Go play your weekend
Right.
session of D&D.
And I want to say that with that knowledge in mind, like, think what are the things that have gotten canceled or postponed? We're not just talking big events, we're talking about birthdays, we're talking about weddings, we're talking
Weddings.
about just minor get-togethers. We're even talking about sad things, like unfortunately like funerals and other procedures like that. But those are social gatherings. Those are all important. And part of the reason why, like, if you're worried about the economy, for example, the economy goes down because people aren't doing anything because we can't do anything right now, but we are building up that sort of urge to do so. And while it's really important to remember that, we have to stay at home and do our part while all this is happening, when it's finally over, we're going to see an explosion of people sort of getting together like never before. I don't mean just on Tinder. I do mean like, like honestly, genuinely wanting to be social with each other, sort of, you know, ex living life the way that we should be living life, um, because we realize that we've been taking a lot of things for granted. So
Yeah, and I think
yeah, like people are going,
like even
sorry,
drawing
it's just that people are going to be like, I think people are going to be celebrating right after as soon as things are actually given the all clear one day. Who knows when that's going to be, but once that's going to happen, people are going to be like, I'm going to celebrate that birthday. I'm going to have that wedding now. I don't care how many people can make it. We're going to do this, together and just have fun and fill it with love and that kind of thing. So
Otafest
definitely.
next year is going to be a hell of a party.
everything's
Oh
going to be
my
a hell of a
goodness.
party. I
Yeah,
really want to have that faith in it, you know? So, but in the meantime, my that's my real hope. My only concern is that people are going to get impatient and we're going to prolong this more than we need to, and I'm really hoping that doesn't happen, of course. But yeah, like in the meantime, as long as we all can pull together and do the very simple thing technically that we are being asked to do, uh,
Stay at home.
yeah, then honestly, the payoff is going to be amazing. People are going to go back to work. People are going to see their family and friends and just do all the simple, silly things that you were doing before, but you're going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
definitely.
So,
Yeah, I think you've hit it right on the head there.
yeah. I don't know.
But
Did anyone else have anything to add to that?
well, in the
No,
meantime, like
I'm
what are you
good.
guys doing to sort of circumvent being able to physically hang out with people?
I'm doing this,
Yes.
this,
I'm doing
and
this too.
Jackbox
But I
games
can only do
and
this for like 5 more minutes before my battery runs out.
watch parties
I
and everything like that. Just hanging out with people in general. So,
don't think I've been on Discord more. Holy cow.
yeah. And getting into Twitch communities because I didn't really do that before. Just getting into online communities in general because I never really tried that much to do that.
I
Um,
thought Twitch streaming would be a lot scarier than what it has been, and my hat's off to Bayfar for doing a lot of the work, but people in Twitch communities are so nice. Holy cow.
yeah, they're something to be appreciated for sure. Um, yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say other than that, but other than I hope everyone keeps fighting by sitting. Right?
Fight by staying the hell at home.
Exactly. I think it was something like Snoop Dogg said something along the lines of, your grandparents or parents were asked to go overseas and fight in wars, but you're just being asked to stay at home. So I'm pretty sure we can do that. Um, yeah, if no one else has anything else to add, I think we'll finish off this episode. Thank you for listening as usual. I don't know if Angelo's still with us.
I miss you guys.
I miss you too.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, it'd be nice to record together again one day. One day. I'm pretty sure Angelo died.
Soon. Yeah,
But that's
that's
okay.
really unfortunate. Press F. F F F
Yeah,
F F F
pay
F F.
respects. All right. Stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next episode
Yeah.
of
Thanks,
Otafest
everyone.
Z. Bye.
Bye.
Angelo says bye. That's my best impression of him. I can't actually do it.
That was pretty good,
I
actually.
tried. Bye.
Bye, everyone.